G'day guys, I've got this 4500 in and it's coming from the USA, and the story is that it goes completely crazy when it gets warm. So I've left it on for quite a while and it's slowly getting noisier and noisier. I have it on my anti-phase coils in mono mode so I can judge what's going on with both channels. Uh, and yeah, it's slowly getting noisier and noisier, but it hasn't gone completely crazy. I just want to see if it actually ground balances, and that isn't the failure mechanism for this. And yeah, it's got, again, hang on a sec. I'll stick that there. I don't think you can see it. I'll put that there. It's got people's names on these detectors, and I didn't notice that he put his name on the front of it. So, yeah. Anyway, I don't think you can read it, but anyway, no big deal. Yeah, Kalgoorlie Hot Rock. Let's have a look at this thing. So, tracking. Okay, wrong switch. Try again. It is tracking, but it's a little bit of residual there. It's only a standard detector. It's nothing fantastic. What I'll do, I'll give it a bit of helping hand to fail, if I can, or try and locate where the failure point is. Hit it with the hot air gun. Now, you don't want to get the board too hot, especially when it's working, because it absolutely can stress out components. The internal junction of a lot of semiconductors can get to 125 degrees Celsius, and you don't want them getting hotter than that. So I've got this at 110, but the heat will be an addition to the junction temperature if they are getting hot. Most of the stuff in here doesn't get that hot, but we'll just see if we can speed up this. So I'll just turn this thing, the audio, right up, and we'll just have a listen. It will carry on like a pork chop, if you know what I mean. What an Australian saying, carry on like a pork chop. That's when you cook a pork chop in a frying pan and it splatters and carries on all over the place. Crazy stuff we say. So let's see how we go. We'll give it a bit of a section heat up first. I'm heating up the input stage. And if there was a problem there, it should absolutely have, really taken off and gone crazy. So obviously not there. We'll try the transmit stage. Nothing at all. We'll try the damping MOSFET. These things have a tendency to avalanche and fail, so we'll just heat it up and see what happens. No, it's not the problem. Okay, let's get into some other parts of the transmitter in here. These are 40106 in here we can heat up. We'll get into the power supply, heat the power supply up. Nothing. We'll heat up the processor and the audio processor and see what happens. Nothing. Okay, we'll do these amplifier chips here. These will go crazy anyway because these are used for balancing the channels, and the DC levels will shift all over the place when I heat them up. So it may go nuts as I do it. Just doing a couple of series power supply pass MOSFETs in here. I don't think it's anything to do with those. So overall, this board, I'd say the whole board probably about 100 Fahrenheit or 40, 42, 44 Celsius, somewhere around there. Even though I've heated it up, it's come down to baseline again. But she is a little bit noisy. It actually has got noisier, and because the signal levels in these detectors are absolutely in the nanovolt range, you can't see that level of noise in an operating circuit. It's just too much other noise. You'll never locate it. So what we'll do now is we'll put him like so. Everything wants to push the opposite way than when I want it to go. So yeah, I'll lock that there. It stood up properly before, now it won't. That's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, it's to do with the push here. So I'll bend them that way and see if we can keep it from wanting to fall over. Well, I'll put that there and I'll pull that back. It wants to be like that. That's all right. We can still operate like so. I just don't want to stress out the Mylar interconnect strips. So I'll fire it up like this and we'll see what happens. So areas I'll do. Okay, we'll do it the MOSFET high voltage blocking signal transfer area. Those MOSFETs there, they're got a habit of failing. So cook the diodes. Nothing. We'll heat up its function switch, does mono, double D and cancel, that thing there. Nothing. So we'll do these bits here which are part of the filter networks for each channel. Nothing. Another set of amplifiers. These are very, very touchy, especially that one. But there's no massive failure. That one there too, I forgot about that. There's a lot of audio parts around here. All the audio area here. Nothing. Frequency control down here. Basically VCO associated parts. Nothing. This is the driver for the MOSFET and the power supply, which always makes me laugh, but anyway, nothing. This high voltage section up here, this floats at whatever the damping voltage ends up being. Yeah. Nothing. Damping MOSFET, nothing. So after all that board now is quite toasty warm. And all I've got is a gradual increase in noise. Got to be careful doing this. That's just my fingers. Or this touching around the... Just move that there to lock it in place a little bit. So what are we going to do now? We haven't failed. This is intermittent faults or thermally induced faults or time-induced faults. They take a long time to fix because you've got to make it fault. And at the moment it hasn't. So, yes, you know who you are who gave me this thing. They sent it to me. Thank you. He's an RF man. I know exactly why he sent me a knitting needle turned into a screwdriver to do with ferrite cores. But anyway, most people use jeweler screwdrivers and break them. But anyway, it's another story. So what we do now, obviously using something insulated, we have to... That's me flicking the wires. If I touch these wires and move them into relation to each other, it'll go completely bonkers usually, so gotta be careful. Sharp movements like that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna have to do the whole input stage and just see if anything is, you know, not quite right. That's moving the wires, so it's nothing there. Okay. You do the pins of the ICs like this, because if you do that, they will move if they're not soldered down properly. I'm just waiting for something to kick up a stink. I have found whole sides of ICs in these detectors before that missed out on the solder from the soldering paste stencil, and they were just pushed down like this. There was no solder. They just pushed down like that. I touched the chip and the thing went haywire. I've only found a couple of those, but it's not common. So I'm just saying. Okay. That's me touching that. See? You be careful. You think you're getting noise. You got to realise where your hand's resting. I think we had some noise fluctuation, but I think it's sharp movements on the board. Just changing the capacitance between components in relation to probably the bench. But we'll find out. There's a stack of little resistors in here that I've had problems with before. They fracture. The ends just on the ceramic just break and you can't see it. So the only way to find that is what I'm doing now. Push each one, a little bit of sideways movement. That's me banging into the inductor there. It wants to make a noise. Now it doesn't. Now let's move that leg. Okay. Moving the wires. You think you find stuff and you realise you're banging a wire. Well, there's nothing physical on that side of the board, which is a real problem. So I'll just turn it off. Well, flip it over. And this, when you do this, you don't want that to happen for a start. I want to find something there I can balance the board on. Just keep it there like so it doesn't do a wander. Turn it back on. We're going to muck around with this side of the board. So, like I say, how do you find an intermittent fault like this? It's very, very difficult. You can't say, oh, I think it's that, and go start replacing components. If you do that, you'll be 90% of the way through the board, and it'll be one of the last ones you ever do. So if it doesn't appear, it's not there. It's like a ghost. If you can't see it, it's not there. So let's see how we go this side of the board. These coil wires are going to wobble around, so I've got to take that into account as well. There's a little square patch of resistors here that are very close to where they mix the amplitude and frequency for the audio output. And these set various parameters. You can get these play up as well, little surface mount, 0402 size things, I think they are. But this is in the trade. This is how you'll find an intermittent fault. In most cases, heating, cooling, and giving it all a good fiddle all over. I've got to check these. This is a very early detector, by the way. It's in very good condition. But I have to check all these capacitors here because there's a few of these detectors came out with all the wrong capacitors in them. I think they're meant to be 18 nanofarad and they weren't. They were something else. But we'll find out that. There's a couple here, there, and along here. And might be another one or two somewhere in here. But I've got it written down in one of my books. I'll have to go find it. That's moving that coil connector down there. The sensitive parts of the detector is all around this area right there. That's just me banging those. The coil wires are right under here and I'm flexing the board. Now, on here I can see a little bit of rework done on this board from the factory, I would say, some time ago. And maybe that is an area worth looking at that possibly might not have been fixed properly, and it's just been sitting there with the grace of God. What I'll do on that, I've already heated this up, so I'm going to hit it with freeze spray. It'll do that because it's all in part of the gain and the filtering in various channels of the detector. So it may definitely make all sorts of weird noises, but then it'll settle back to baseline again. Usually if there's a hard and fast problem, it will show it, it'll stay there. So we'll just go over it once more. This is where it costs you a lot of money trying to find a fault. Freeze spray is not cheap. So did that go quieter? What I'm probably doing is there's some components here. If I freeze them, it'll change the frequency of the LCR oscillator. Or should I say it's not really? Well, I suppose it is. It's an inductor and a capacitor setup. So LC oscillator to be, if you want to be correct. Okay, we'll get into the front end of it. We'll see what happens here. That's just changing the value of a capacitor. It'll change values as it heats up and cools down. So it's on a very reactive channel. But I'm just touching it with the icy tip and it goes off. So that's on probably one of the channels that does very early sampling. That's why it's going off. And just to prove a point, it just settled to baseline again, so it's like, I'll do this, it'll go nuts. Well, it's probably taken the chill off it now. No, it's just a temperature differential shock to the system. If I do it now after heating it up, it'll go nuts again, see? But it's not faulty. It's not a fault. So well, this guy says this detector goes crazy. He's tried different coils on it. He's tried all sorts of things, and the message is it goes crazy. But it's terrible when you can't make it do the fault. How do you fix something that won't fault in front of you? This happens quite often. People will swear it goes off, it does this and that, and you know, now we're on the time-consuming voyage of discovery, trying to find something that may or may not exist. This is hunting ghosts. So when we get to that point, I'll stick my hand under there. And what we have to do is something not really violent, but I want to just have a bit of spring on my hand on the board. Interesting. Sharp knock is causing an issue. I'm touching one of those MOSFETs there. We're both doing it now. But then again, it could be just the shock going through those coil cables that are under here and causing that issue. Let me get my fingers right away. I expect it to go off a bit here. It will just react to the plastic of the screwdriver. It just changes the surrounding dielectric of the air. It has a little bit of an effect. This has the feeling of an intermittent. It is reactive, then it's not. And who's to say it's not on the other side of the board? It's really difficult to fix this stuff. Now, let's go off with such a tiny tap. Hang on a second. I'm going to have to get in here, get that epoxy paint off, and give everything a going over. So I've got to do it systematically. I've got to do it here, and then I've got to do it on the other side of the board. There's something going on there. Because I'm moving the board, those wires are moving, and there is no reaction. But if you're hitting with a short, sharp tap and it has a reaction, there's something going on. What I could do is just spin it round again this way, get this right out of the way here, bend it over there, turn him back on, and I'll see if I can get it sitting a bit harder down, and I'm going to just tap around those input op amps there and the associated circuitry just to see if I get more of a feel of it. But it could even be metal migration, or like part of the wafer has come adrift in those input MOSFETs. Those things are the hardest worked devices in these detectors, and the more switching on, off, they're running at, whatever they are, around 20 kilohertz or something or other, 30 kilohertz, 30,000 times a second, forever and ever and ever, and they get hot, and you get a a thing that happens. It's basically the tiny particles of metal in there. It actually migrates through the silicon and it eventually shorts. But it could be something like that at that sort of level. You'll never spot it, and it's very, very hard to find. So in that case, what you do is, if you can't find it by doing all the tap tests and locate it, those two N-channel MOSFETs, you would replace those. And just as far-fetched, but the likely scenario would be those, or one of those is failing. And it's always good to do them in a pair. And you've got to remember to short out the 15-volt rail capacitor, because if you put your soldering iron there, it'll blow other things up. So even if the detector turned off, those capacitors hold charge. So anyway, let's get in here and we'll give it a tap test. See, top or bottom of the board, what is it? Now I'm doing this on each channel. You got to remember there's 2 channels on this. I've got to set up running in 2 channels to see what we've got going on here. It's something. I'm just going along the pins of the op amps now. I'm pulling them sideways. And I'll do that quad op amp there as well. Nothing. That's me hitting the front panel. Okay, I was going to do these little capacitors beside the op amps. Give them a wiggle, because sometimes those things make and break, and in that part of the circuit, it would make a racket if it failed. Let's do the little N-channel devices, give them a poke and a prod. I hit one of the wires, so that would make that noise. See how frustrating it is? Tap the board. Now I'm just going to hold these wires down hard, just so that I just get no vibration through them. It will go crazy because my fingers are on them, but we're going to see if it makes a noise. It's showing some instability around this section of the board. So grab the wires tight, try and hold them still. Get my finger away from the transmit inductor, get away from there. You know what it could be? See, what I'm holding down here, it's making the other end of the board springy. So we'll give it a hard hit this time. like I say, chasing ghosts. What is it? But I can't reproduce the fault the customer gets. Can't hold it down. It feels like chasing ghosts. I've never had something that has been so damn difficult. It's like, sorry, I have. I found a crack through a microscopic tiny resistor once that was causing a problem. So this is I'd rather smoke pour out of this than have this, this iffy type of fault. So any of you guys working on this stuff, you probably know where I'm coming from if anyone worked on any electronic stuff. Where is this fault? The guy swears black and blue, it goes crazy. He swapped coils, still goes crazy. It's not going to go crazy because of the battery pack. It'll either work or it won't. So, at this point, what I tend to do is I'll take the board out and I'll go put it in the freezer for 10 minutes and cool it right down and just see if the heating it up, expansion and contraction will cause something that's on the verge of just touching to actually fully come apart or something. Then I can find it. Otherwise, you can't fix what's not. I feel like using something else with the F word, but which is not broken or misbehaving. Yes, put your finger near that inductor there, it's going to go nuts. So guys, this is what you have to put up with, and these are massive time-consuming jobs that stop you doing everything else. I have David's brought tons of stuff around I'm going to get through, and this one was actually, for some reason on our list, the next urgent, so I didn't question it. I just got stuck into it. So that is this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go and give it a bit of a good scrape the paint off in various sensitive areas that could possibly be indicating the type of fault that the guy was talking about. But this is what happens. I get people who say their detectors are noisy and do this and do that, and I get them here and they're quiet as a mouse. In some cases it is. It's just EMI, solar activity, all sorts, and because people don't realize that can cause that sort of problem in a detector. You get it to fix it, and sometimes you're fixing nothing. So yeah, it is just a big time waster. Anyway, I think it's totally useless doing any more filming of this. So I can put this on pause. I can leave it on pause. I think I've got a pause function now, which I think is that new button that's turned up. So I can pause it, and if I find what's wrong, I'll add it to the video. So if it doesn't come back on, I haven't found it. Anyway, catches for the time being anyway. Still going. It's meant to pause. No, still going. No, sorry, I was pushing the wrong button. Helps if I actually look at it.